Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? Hope y'all doing well, man. I thought this was an interesting topic to bring up in regard to this upcoming undisputed clash between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, the granddaddy of them all. It's the most important fight, the most impactful fight. This is a once-in-a-generation type of fight. Like I said on the live the other day, in one single generation, you're lucky if you get one of these. You know what I'm saying? Whereas two guys at the height of their career, two black American fighters, let's just keep it 100. Like I said, it's different. You know, it's just different when you got two guys on this level that's with this type of ability, with this type of skill, with this type of athleticism, with this type of ring IQ, with this type of dog and this type of killer. It's different. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's just different. You know what I'm saying? You got the best of the best fighting in the glamour division with everything on the line. Fight been in the making for 4 or 5 years. And it's so much unfolding with this fight coming up over these next 2 months. We have their first official press conference that's slated, from what I've been reading and hearing, the first official press conference is slated to take place tomorrow. I believe they're doing a East Coast and West Coast type thing, just like how Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia did back-to-back days, one in New York, one in LA, and vice versa. So we'll be covering that as well. You know, do like a quick review on, you know, what we saw at the press conference, what the energy was like, what was said, maybe some new things would be revealed that we didn't know that was going on behind the scenes. We'll break all this shit down. We are covering this fight extensively and in its entirety here on this channel. You know, this is a fight that, you know, my first video was why I think Errol Spence beats Terence Crawford Part 1. It's my first video, 2018. For everything that I said, you know, I stand on that, and I haven't pivoted from that stance at all, because when I said what I said on that video, it came from a place of logic. It came from a place of understanding and, you know, having a sharp eye for what I'm seeing. So not saying that my prediction is going to play out exactly perfect, but I'm standing on that. So, you know, we are going to cover this fight in its entirety. But I want to talk about this. The weight cut, the truth behind the weight cut, the 147-pound weight cut for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. A lot of people make a big deal about the weight for Errol Spence, and rightfully so. He's 33 years old, been at this weight his entire career. He's a career 147-pound fighter. And this is not something that's out of the ordinary. We've seen marvelous Marvin Hagler fight at 160 his entire career, made his bones at that weight. It was just perfect for him. He was, you know, he's to this day, of course, a Hall of Famer, rest in peace. But he, you know, to this day regarded as one of the most gifted, one of the most incredible fighters to ever lace up gloves. And he did all his work at one weight class. You had Gennady Golovkin fighting at 160 his whole career till he recently just moved up after he became washed and shit. But we know that was his weight. Andre Ward was a career 168-pounder. Only reason he moved up to 165 because nobody else wanted no smoke. Canelo didn't want to come up in weight, didn't want no smoke, and didn't nobody want to come down in weight. So he went up and challenged. He went up to challenge Kovalev, who was stopping everything at that time. And everybody was supposedly afraid of Kovalev, and Andre Ward went up to 175 and whooped his ass 2 times. You know what I'm saying? So it's not out of the ordinary for a fighter to be at one weight class his whole career. Keith Thurman, career 147-pound fighter. Sean Porter. There's so many examples. So, but a lot of people make a big deal about the weight cut for Errol Spence. The reason I say rightfully so, because he's a bigger guy. He's older in his career. Normally, guys do start to move up later in their career, which, of course, Errol Spence is planning on doing. But I don't think a lot of people are taking into account the weight cut for Terence Crawford. I don't think either fighter is gonna have an advantage when it comes to cutting weight in this fight. I don't think either fighter is gonna have an advantage. I think both guys are gonna struggle to make the weight. I don't think it's gonna be fun to make 147 for Spence, and I don't think it's gonna be fun to make 147 for Terence Crawford. Let me give you the reasons why. Of course, for Terence Crawford, for Errol Spence being a slightly bigger man, being at this weight his whole career, walking around normally when he's in relatively decent shape, he's walking around at 170, 175. If he's out of shape, you know, flabby like Larry Holmes, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace to Pimp C, then he will probably be like 185, 190. But 185, 190 pound Errol Spence is not in the best shape, at least fighting shape. You know what I'm saying? Like when he walking around just vibing, you know, not too far off fight waving, not too crazy. He's about 170, 175. Terence Crawford, same shit. Now he might not get up to 180 or 190 or nothing like that, but Terence Crawford, have y'all seen Terence Crawford outside the ring? Like after his fights, like give Terence Crawford 2 months after his fights. Yeah, he be in the gym and shit, but Terence Crawford, you know, he's not a super duper small welterweight. Like Terence Crawford walking around at 170. Easy. He walking around 170, 175 maybe, but definitely 170. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, for those reasons, it's not going to be easy for either of these guys to make weight. Another thing that people are not taking into account is that Terence Crawford, yeah, he started at 135, but I mean, that's like a top ranked that's really like a top ranked blueprint, because when top rank get fighters early in their career, because I told y'all top rank is a place for guys to start their career, build their name. They got incredible matchmaking. They match you up with guys who make you look good. They match you up with guys who may be perceived as some type, really ain't even no perceived threat, but they match you up with guys that got like Olympic backgrounds, or they might have some type of decent amateur background, but they ain't did shit on a pro level. You know what I'm saying? They match you up with those guys that make you look good. You know what I'm saying? And they start you out at maybe 1 or 2 weight classes lower than what you should be. Let you, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and run off a nice little run at this weight and that weight, and then of course you eventually get into your natural weight. But Terence Crawford really ain't had no issues like that with the matchmaking that they was putting him with, the guys that they was putting him in at 35 and 40 and shit. Like, you know, if look at who he fought at 140. You know what I'm saying? You look at who Danny Garcia fought when he was at 140, and then you look at who Terence Crawford fought when he was at 140. The competition ain't the same. You feel what I'm saying? But that goes to top ranks matchmaking. That's what they do. And the point I'm making is that I don't think Terence Crawford coming up from a smaller weight class means anything as far as him being at 147 and making the weight comfortably. He's still a bigger guy. He's still a guy that is gonna have to eat right. He's gonna have to train consistently. He's gonna go through a rigorous training camp to be able to make 47. And he's an older guy now. A guy that's 35, 36 years old like Terence Crawford is, a grown man, walking around 170, 175, it's not easy to get down to 147. I don't care if you started out at fighting at 122. You 35 now, about to be 36 in September, or whenever, September, October. I know his birthday late in the fall. You not making 147 as a grown-ass man. You not making 147 that easy. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I remember, you know, back in the day, I didn't weigh that much. You know what I'm saying? I myself walking around like 170 something. at this age that I'm at right now, I'm not finna be able to make 147 easy. That shit'll be hard as hell. That shit'll be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker gonna feel sick. That shit gonna be tough. The point I'm making is that this weight cut is not gonna be easy for either of these fighters. Another thing that we gotta talk about is that Pete, the details, at least what has been released to the public from what we know, they said that for the rematch clause, which is bi-directional, meaning that if Terence Crawford loses, he gets a rematch. If Errol Spence loses, he gets a rematch. That rematch is slated to take place at 154. Both of these guys are planning on moving up to 154. Terence Crawford lately has been adamant about moving up to 154. We already know Errol Spence has been planning on moving up to 154. And I think people might find it might be surprising to a lot of people that shit. There's a chance that Errol Spence can make the weight easier than Terence Crawford. There's a chance that Terence Crawford might make the weight easier than Errol Spence. What I'm saying is that I don't think this weight cut gonna be easy for either of these fighters because they both that's their last fight at 47. This fight right here is both Terence Crawford and Errol Spence's last fight at 47. Them boys gonna be at 154 for the rest of their career after this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, ain't no telling what Earl gonna do after 54, you know, if he chooses to continue to fight. But this weight cut ain't finna be easy for nobody. So I don't think there's gonna be any advantage in that category. And I don't think there should be any excuses. You know, if the guy that you pick and lose, I don't wanna hear shit about no weight cuts. I don't want to hear nothing about Errol Spence staying at 147 too long. Terence Crawford tried to wait him out and all this shit. Nah, I don't want to hear none of that. And I don't want to hear nothing about Terence Crawford being too old and he too old to be trying to make 47. I don't want to hear about none of that shit. I don't want to hear about him being too small. Because again, he walking around at 170 the same, just like Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence is just a slightly bigger guy. You know, Terence Crawford got a couple of inches on the reach. You know, Errol Spence got a wider frame. You know, a little bit taller. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford rangier with the reach, but Errol Spence a little longer as far as his frame. So, you know, that helps with covering distance and closing the distance, showing ring generalship if you trying to impose your size and strength on a guy. For Terence Crawford, he can use his attributes and gifts in different ways as well to take advantage of things that he see with Errol Spence. So this fight is going to be very evenly matched when it comes to like size and when it comes to the weight. Like, I don't think either guy is going to have a huge advantage as far as size. I think Errol Spence got a slight advantage with his size. On fight night, he might be a few pounds heavier than Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford got a little bit of, and I think Errol Spence is going to be the stronger fighter physically. But Terence Crawford got a little bit of an advantage with the, with the arm reach. You know what I'm saying? A couple of inches. Now, Terence Crawford ain't used to fighting guys with 72-inch reach. He not used to that. He used to fighting guys. Remember, I told y'all, Kell Brook was fucking up Terence Crawford's eye with the jab in 2 rounds. And he got like 68 or 69 reach. Terence Crawford don't be fighting guys that got 72-inch arm reach like that. So that 74 shit gonna look way different fighting Earl than it do fighting them other dudes. I'm just saying, fighting Sean Porter and Gambo and Kell Brook and all these dudes with these short arm reaches, that shit gonna, even though his shit a little bit longer than Earl, it ain't gonna look the same as it looked with everybody else. So y'all keep that in mind. But I thought this was an intriguing aspect of the fight. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. What do y'all think about the weight cut? Are y'all taking into consideration that this shit ain't gonna be easy for either guy? Do y'all think the weight cut is gonna be, a determining factor in the fight or anything like that? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.